Joining me now, Ford O'Connell, Gina, Loudon, Adam Goodman, and Mica Mosbacher. Mica, let me go to you first. You're out in Las Vegas. You are a Ted Cruz supporter. This liar narrative that's been surrounding his campaign seems to be echoing louder and louder. Will this firing help to mitigate that, or will it make it worse?
Ted Cruz stood up for his principles, and I commend his decision. Even though Rick Tyler was not responsible for the leaks early on during the Iowa campaign, he understands as a professional that the buck stops here, and Ted Cruz stepped up to the line and did what a leader does. He made a tough decision. He is going to run a principled campaign and not going to cross the line and falsely accuse another candidate of something that he did not do, and he's not going to question someone's faith. Let me tell you that I was national co-chair for John McCain and for Governor Rick Perry, and within the Cruz camp, I have never seen such a cohesive group. They have weekly Bible studies. Jeff Rubio is the campaign manager, one of the most principled men I have ever met. Politics is a blood sport. And part of the tactics, look at James Carville, for example, part of the tactics are saying he said this and he said that. What I hope to see is that we get down to more substantive issues next week at the Houston debate. Well, Adam, we only have three major candidates really on stage.
Adam, let me
go. That will
be
be the best opportunity to show contrast among the candidates.
I want to go to Adam Goodman because he's had the role of communications director in the past. And even when Ted Cruz is speaking, his apology was interesting, almost backhanded, even if they were true. Listen, I know this is a blood sport, but has the Cruz campaign gone too far?
Well, look at it this way, Charles. You have a values-driven candidate who suddenly has a values-challenged campaign. And if these were just isolated incidents, you can kind of excuse it away. But it seems to fit the narrative that Donald Trump and Marco Rubio and others have said of late, that he's just not being square. And, I think the one thing that can remedy all this, frankly, with Ted, as unfortunate as today's event was, is winning. He's going to have to win to put this to rest. If not, I think this could be a snowball moving the wrong side down the mountain for him. And I think it gets worse, not better, in his base.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Gina. Can he win? Is he doing so much damage to himself? And maybe South Carolina is evidence of that. Can he even win anymore?
I think that it just got a lot tougher with the firing of Rick Tyler, because I think, Charles, this isn't the point in the campaign where you want to look like you haven't made the best decisions regarding staffing. And I fear that this kind of begs the question, Charles, if he can't pick the right campaign staff, how can we know, as voters or even as his supporters might wonder, how can they know that then he would support a solid cabinet if he were president? I think it begs that question.
We've got Charlie Gasparino here in the studio with me. Listen, we all make mistakes in terms of staffing, so I don't know that anyone expects someone to pick the perfect staff out the gate. However,
was this guy considered bad? He wasn't, by most accounts.
I've seen some people saying that in past campaigns there was enough yellow flags, maybe even red flags, that Cruz maybe should have thought secondly. But I think the issue, though, Charlie, is how long it took him to do this, and maybe should he have done something after the Ben Carson flap in Iowa?
I mean, listen, I've been around Wall Street, particularly. I'll give you some Wall Street analogies, and sometimes these campaigns reflect that because they're put together in some of the same ways. CEO, usually a cult of personality of the CEO. CEO says jump 3 feet, the whole company jumps 3 feet. So there's similarities here, and I've seen CEOs get rid of underlings who have just followed the orders of the CEO, or at least followed the temperature and followed the culture. And I think what the problem I have with putting this guy out, laying this guy out to dry, is that generally campaign managers and staff like that follow the cultural direction of the guy at top. Chris Christie with Bridgegate is a perfect example. Yes, those people committed the actual quote-unquote crime, but make no mistake, they were taking their cultural directions from the guy at the top that played very hardball politics. And it's the same here. It's hard for me to sort of disintermediate Cruz from this guy. There's a commonality here.
And Ford, to that point, I mean, that's the task that Cruz has got in front of him now, isn't it?
Well, look, Cruz underachieved in South Carolina. This is a pure political calculation. Look, I know Rick Tyler, he's a good guy, but you know what? Ted Cruz decided that he's got to stop the bleeding. This narrative about him being a liar and trading in deceptive campaign tricks has to stop because he's penning himself as a straight shooter.
What does Cruz do to make it stop, though, Ford? You say it has to stop. Obviously, it's got to stop.
He has to win. You want to know the first thing he can do is basically finish in second place in Nevada. And if he doesn't finish in second place in Nevada, he has to worry about losing Texas to Donald Trump.
Doesn't that beg the question, can it really be the campaign spokesman? This guy's not even the manager, right? He's the spokesman. Can it really be the campaign spokesman's fault that Cruz has got a reputation for being a liar or for playing hardball? It's not. I mean, this is a cosmetic thing.
Charlie, you're right. There's no question that Rick Tyler was following orders, okay?
Yeah.
And the point is when you follow orders and the music stops, you're going to have to cut someone. Yeah. And Rick Tyler basically was the beneficiary of Ted Cruz's underhanded actions.
So, Mica, let me go back to you on this.
Yes.
Again, does it feel like, is Ted Cruz going to be able to say, hey, this was not from me, this was not part of my narrative, it didn't come from the top in terms of marching orders, or was it, hey, guys, do anything you can, win at all costs? Because that is what people are starting to believe now.
Absolutely not. He issued fair warning after Iowa, no more dirty tricks. Ted Cruz is someone I've known for years. He is a principled guy. He's my senator. He stood up and fought for us in Congress. He is a man of integrity. George W. Bush Sr. gave money to Ted Cruz along with my husband, Bob Mosbacher, when he was thinking of running for Attorney General. He is a principled guy, or he would not have made this decision. And by the way, it was a lower-level staffer that was leaking some of these things. Rick Tyler took responsibility and resigned.
It begs the question, if you're going to have staff meetings every day and kumbaya, Bible studies, I mean, this is a cohesive bunch, and it begs the question, if you're that cohesive as a bunch, doesn't the culture start with the CEO or the candidate? And I'm telling you, every place that I've covered, every Wall Street firm and every campaign, because I do some political coverage, it always starts with the guy at the top, and you can't get around it.
That's why he took responsibility.
So that's the point. He did.
Why didn't heads roll after the whole shenanigans in Iowa? Why weren't heads rolling then? That was when people were calling for heads to roll when the whole thing happened with Iowa. No one was even saying anything about this. It happened. Tyler apologized. Why now? I mean, it just doesn't seem. It seems like there's something bigger going on here.
Hold on a second. Let me bring in Adam. Let me bring in Adam Goodman, because Adam Goodman has played this role before. And what do you say to that? Because it does seem like it could be too little, too late. You wonder about Iowa. Maybe he was given the benefit of the doubt by core Cruz supporters, but even those folks are starting to peel away. Adam.
Well, first of all, presidential contests are real measures of leadership, and what you do when the chips are on the table and you got to measure up. And I think we're seeing a good test of Cruz right now. As a former communications director way back when, I can tell you it pains me to see the communications director go as the one who has to be the fall guy. But the bottom line in all of this is I think Ted Cruz has got a problem right now, which is what seems to be, rightly or wrongly, the perception seems to be there is a growing pattern of behavior coming from that campaign that can't be explained away with a press conference.